Hi everyone, my name is Celeste. I will be doing the case summary part of the adolescence group. I'll be going over a little bit of the biopsychosocial assessment of the client that I've chosen. To start, I do want to make it known that the name and any identifying details about the client have been changed. This was a client I have worked with in the partial program that I'm currently doing my field placement at. Of the identifying information, I feel it's pretty much self-explanatory. This information is simple, but very important to come. It'll be utilized throughout each presentation. I do want to note that the job that this individual holds is part-time, due to the fact that he is in 11th grade. There are a few medical concerns with Dustin. Dustin was diagnosed with asthma at the age of 8. Currently, he uses inhalers on an as-needed basis. You might hear a doctor or any medical professional reference a medication to PRN. That just means that it's to be given on an as-needed basis. With the inhalers, his symptoms are well managed. There's never been any major complications noted. Dustin does have a seizure disorder. His first seizure occurred at the age of 12. He did have a seizure 9 months ago as well. So altogether, from the age of 12 to 9 months ago, he has had 4 seizures. His seizures are currently being managed with Tegretol XR. XR does stand for extended release, so the medication is long-lasting essentially. Aside from those medical concerns, Dustin does have a history of depression that I feel can root from several things. His biological father was abusive to his mother, also ended up doing heroin at one point, and did end up in jail. That is also when Dustin began acting out by having outburst-like behavior. So I feel like that's where the explosive disorder comes into play. On the right side, you'll notice that children and youth is mentioned. Children and youth got involved due to the violence that was occurring in the home that Dustin lived in with his mother. As the years went on, Dustin did turn to negative situations and various criminal activity. Let me go back a little. So children and youth was involved at a time due to what his father was doing to his mother, and Dustin was witnessing that directly, or indirectly I should say. He never got abused by the father. Dustin did start drinking at one point and smoking marijuana and end up getting in trouble with the law, which landed him to where we currently will be shortly. Here you see the presenting problem of Dustin's situation. There's not much more to say here. This is what got Dustin to where he is with receiving counseling currently. As we move on, more aspects will be broken down. As you could see, there are 4 citations that Dustin has received. The 4 citations that he received are an underage drinking citation, possession of marijuana, trespassing private property, as well as disorderly conduct. Next slide just breaks down the presenting problem a little bit more. When Dustin did consume alcohol, it was mostly alcohol with a mixer. He would have beer on occasion. To add, most of his alcohol was consumed on the weekends. He notes only a few times that he did consume during the week or on a school night. Nextly, Dustin does smoke marijuana every day. It's even noted that he smokes sometimes twice daily. For his past mental health history, He has received individual counseling in the past. No success. It would start out by him being very tentative and going to the sessions and being very open about his situation, and eventually he would either stop showing up or cancel, and that would be that. Also, the mother has attempted family therapy in the past. On 2 occasions there has been moderate success, but it would only last a short time. It was explained that it would last about 3 months and then kind of just be back to where he was previous to the family therapy sessions. And the etiology of each disorder is what is down below there. Those 4 will also be further reviewed by utilizing the DSM-5, which is referenced at the end of my presentation. For alcohol use disorder, one qualifies for this when one fails to meet major responsibilities, has functional impairment, or health problems that could be related to alcohol. They do have to meet 1 or more within a 12-month time frame. And that's where I feel like if it weren't for the 12-month time frame, Dustin would have met this in a sense. It also qualifies 1 if they are missing major social events or just have a strong craving 24/7 for alcohol. The next one, cannabis use. This comes into play when one has disordered perception, hard time critically thinking, and loss of coordination. If someone is to withdraw from this, the symptoms commonly are inability to sleep, angerness, and being anxious within a week of not having the marijuana. Dustin does use marijuana daily, sometimes twice a day. This is very relative to him. Again, just that it hasn't been for 12 months. But if we don't help him now, I feel like it will definitely get to 12 months. But if we act quick enough, we won't have to have that issue. Aside from the alcohol and cannabis, other specified depressive disorder is significant to Dustin's situation. This is impairment of social, occupational, and other valuable areas. I feel that Dustin's depression has halted him slightly from hanging out with other friends that he used to prior to having this behavior. The only thing is I'm just not sure if he actually does meet it, because again, this is something that you have to meet the whole criteria in order to classify for this. But Dustin, though, I feel like is depressed due to a variety of social issues, familial issues that have happened way in the past but are just coming out now, and he's dealing with them in a different way. Also, he has outburst-like behavior. That's where intermittent explosive disorder comes into play. This consists of anger based on aggression that happens quick and accumulates all little things that have built up to leading to an outburst, essentially. These episodes are known to last about 30 minutes. Dustin's episodes are generally verbal and non-damaging, thankfully. Dustin has not harmed anybody or any property during an outburst thus far. So the special population will be next. The prevalence, you'll note some facts that were written there. I feel that they are very helpful in this situation, especially being that it's a teenage population. I kind of focused around that. I do want to note that marijuana accounts for 17% of admissions to treatment facilities in the U.S. That's actually second to opiates. As we know, a lot of states are in the process of legalizing it, but fortunately I think that's for 18 and younger, not teenagers as Dustin's age. The impact can be horrific to not only the individual themselves, but them around them and in the community. It can also lead to very deadly medical issues in time. It could be related to the liver or heart. Liver function often fails with excessive alcohol intake. So even though you quit at one age, 20 years down the road you could have something with your liver, and it could still be an effect from when somebody was an alcoholic. Also, heart disease can be a variety of issues with the blood vessels narrowing, causing one to need open heart surgery, a stent put in due to a blockage. But again, this is something that could happen down the road or during that time. Anything is possible. But definitely health issues is something to be very aware of in these situations. The theories that I chose to relate to Dustin and people in his situation. For social learning theory, if the adolescent is around a substance at any point growing up, to me they're learning it that same way. Whether it's direct or indirect observation, it can still trigger something like this to come about. I feel that by Dustin seeing his father do drugs when he was younger, to be more specific, heroin, he saw the gratification that his dad got, and eventually turned to a point in his life that he was depressed and needed some kind of gratification. Many adolescents get involved in drugs because they see it at home or in the community, such as Dustin's situation. The next theory that I thought was very good to relate to Dustin's situation was rational choice theory. I feel that as though not many elementary, middle school, and high school students nowadays receive drug and alcohol education classes, or as we used to have when I went to school was called DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. Without having any knowledge of the substance, more teens, I feel, are trying them to see what does happen. I think if they were more educated, they would weigh out the positive and negatives of their choice just by being aware of the side effects that can happen. And the last thing is the history and culture of Dustin's situation. Dustin, as you saw in the beginning, was brought up Methodist. He did receive 2 sacraments. That was a Holy Baptism and Holy Communion as a child. He doesn't go to church anymore. He does see his family, though, for holidays. Mostly it's his mother's family. They'll get together for minor holidays, and is in that, I mean, Memorial Day and, cookouts and stuff like that, but he does see them for Christmas and Thanksgiving all the time. Nextly, under the culture, as we noted previously again, Methodist, and then he is not old enough to vote, but he does speak about a slight opinion geared towards Republican. Even though he's not old enough to vote, I feel that it's very good and important that he has that opinion in mind for in the future of what's to come. Alright, and there's the 2 articles that I chose. I did write the summaries there. The first one was very interesting with group treatment situations. I feel like that's something very good for anybody in addiction. Thank you all for listening to my presentation. Up next will be Renee for the second half of our presentation. And the references are all noted there. Thank you again.